Yo, what's up, everyone? So we are back after a 2-week international break to watch Liverpool versus Leicester City at Anfield, and I'm telling you now, it is going to be an incredible game. So Klopp delivers his verdict on today's game, and he thinks Leicester are still contenders for everything. I'm assuming that means Premier League, FA Cup, League Cup, and the Champions League. Although I really do not see that happening for Leicester, but anything is possible. I think what he's trying to say is in today's game, we can't write Leicester out. And I know we can't because they have been up our tails this time last year before we broke away from them. And for most of this season, to be honest, they have been either right behind us or like this week, literally 1 point ahead of us, which is difficult to look at. We sit fourth in the table and Leicester City sit third with only Chelsea and Tottenham above the two of us. So a win today will take us only to second place, but we'll be drawing points with Spurs on first. Unless we win 10-0 today, it's quite unlikely that we'll go first place. However, a win for Leicester City will take them first place. So they are definitely going to come out with everything they have today. If Leicester City were to beat us today, it would end a run of 63 games at home in the league unbeaten. And that is a long, long, long time to go without being beaten at home. And just speaking about playing football at home, I miss it so much. Just imagine the atmosphere we'd be having today. Just imagine the electricity, it's just... If we do come away with a win today, with the full 3 points, it would be a sign, it would give a message to those four teams in the title race that we're not going to go down without a fight, even though we're not going down at the moment, but we have a plethora of injuries. We'll get to the list of injuries later. But it's literally a full-on crisis at the back. I think one thing we need to look out for today is the fact that Leicester City are really going to come at us. You don't tend to get a Liverpool squad so weakened. In fact, most of last season, we were pretty good when it came to injuries. We had the odd injuries here and there, but with people like Keitas who weren't really in our first 11. But the way things are at the moment, I think Leicester have their biggest chance of trying to beat Liverpool at Anfield. So it's going to be an interesting game today. So here is our list of injuries at the moment. We've got obviously Virgil Van Dijk out with an ACL, and he's probably going to be out for most of the season. We've got Joe Gomez, who's also going to be out for most of the season with a knee injury. We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, who should only hopefully be out for 4 weeks, but he hurt his calf playing against Man City. And that one was just another addition to the list of injuries. Then, more recently, Mohamed Salah with coronavirus, and Mo Salah, I know... See, this is why I just think international football at the moment is just... I get it, we've got the Nations League and stuff going on, but it just seems so irrelevant. Like, people are dying in the world because of coronavirus. All right, cool, it's a push to keep the Premier League running with what's going on with the R rate and the COVID rate and God knows what they're talking about on the news. But to keep international football on when players like Mohamed Salah, like, I can't think of any others at the moment, are getting coronavirus, like, you know it's a threat to these players that are worth millions and millions of pounds. Why is it still going on? And then on top of all of that, they've got so many games going on. And then you've got like Henderson, for example, who's gone and picked up a little injury playing for England. They're playing so many games at the moment, like literally week in, week out. And on top of all of that, they didn't get a proper pre-season at the beginning of this season. And then they're expected to play games, picking up injuries here and there. And it's just... Like, I don't know if it's fair to say that international football should be given a break at the moment. Like, I want to watch the Euros this summer. I hope the Euros do happen. But Premier League, Champions League, it all comes first before international football to me. But anyways, so as I was saying, we've got Hendo with a thigh injury. We've got Oxlade-Chamberlain out. And we've had Thiago and Fabinho out. Although, they should be back for today's game. And... like I was saying earlier, it just feels like we've gone without an injury for such a long time. And then since Van Dijk did his ACL, it just seems... It's like London buses, to be honest. You wait 20 minutes and none comes and suddenly 10 come in a row. And that is literally how many injuries we got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And most of them are first team players as well. However, I think times like this is where you have to love... I don't know if Klopp has like this future vision or something like that. But I remember when Alisson got injured and we had already just signed, what's his name? How am I forgetting his name? And we had just signed Adrian, and Adrian came in and managed to save us in the Super Cup. And it just seems like Klopp has this foresight, because he's just gone and done the same thing, even though Diogo Jota had to come to a team like Liverpool. Like, he's got the talent. But we've got Jota, and then suddenly Salah's out. And Jota's there to fill the gap. And it's like we've got even though we're injured, we've got injuries, we've still got that amazing front three. I just wish we could do a little bit more with our defence. We're not the only team today without a list of injuries, and I mean, we're only playing one other team, so you can guess it is Leicester City. Leicester have out Schmeichel, Pereira, Soyuncu, Fofana and Castagna, although Fofana, Castagna and Pereira were pictured in training last week, which means for Leicester fans, it is likely that they will be playing today against Liverpool, and I think without them, Leicester would really struggle. But their goalkeeper, Peter Schmeichel, is still out for today's game, which means that they will have I forgot his name now. They will have Danny Ward making his debut today. So if you add up the fact that Liverpool are missing so many defenders, Leicester are missing so many defenders, but Leicester still have people like Maddison and Jamie Vardy who are at full fitness playing today, and Liverpool have Firmino, Mane and Diogo Jota at the front who are also at full fitness today. You can imagine it's going to be absolutely goals galore. We've got 2 weakened defences, 2 strong attacks, and Leicester don't have their first keeper in goal. In fact, Danny Ward is his name. Danny Ward? Yeah, Danny Ward is actually making his Premier League debut today against Liverpool, which is going to be, let's just say, interesting. So for the lineups today, here are my predicted lineups. I think we're left without many options, so this literally is the lineup that we can have. We've got Alisson in goal with James Milner at the back on the right, with Matip, Phillips and Robertson playing alongside him. We've got Wijnaldum, Shaqiri and Keitas. And Wijnaldum, I was a big critique of his at the beginning of this season. I think he just came into the games with the wrong attitude, as if he's just waiting to leave the club. But in the last few games, he seems to have fixed up, and he's just gone back, in a way, to that old Wijnaldum that we were used to. Not the same Wijnaldum that came out against Barcelona, because I don't think that Wijnaldum will ever be seen again, but not far off. And then we've got Keita and Shaqiri filling the gaps in the middle. Shaqiri, no homo, yeah, but you don't understand. I love this guy. Like, he hasn't been playing competitive football for such a long time, and then he came into 2 games and played 2 phenomenal passes, both of them to Jota, and he's just one player. I love his attitude. Like, he comes out onto that pitch, and he always comes out like he's got a point to prove. Like, he wants to tell the critics, the fans, the manager, everyone watching him, that I am here as a professional footballer, and I'm going to prove to you that I have the quality. Literally every time he comes out onto that pitch, I've never seen a lazy bone in his body. Like, he just gives it his all, and I love that. I absolutely love that. So yeah, I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on today. Then we've got Naby Keita playing alongside him, and I think today, with Fabinho out, with Henderson out, we need a leader in the middle, and I haven't seen Naby Keita take that leader role. I haven't seen him play like he used to back at Salzburg or Leipzig, and I'm really, really hoping that Keita today, where we're going to need a leader in the middle of the pitch. We're missing Virgil Van Dijk from the back as well, so we need someone to step up. And I mean, Keita doesn't seem very communicative with the team. I don't know if that's a real word or not, but he doesn't seem to be someone that communicates a lot with players around him. He doesn't dictate play like he used to before he came to Liverpool, and I think today is a big, big chance, because you haven't got the likes of Henderson there, you haven't got Fabinho there, you haven't got Van Dijk there, and I think without all those big players there, or Mohamed Salah even, without all those big players there, Keita is in a position where he can try and dictate the game of play a little bit more, and I really, really want to see that from Keita today. And if he doesn't do that today, then he's just missing out on a big opportunity to prove himself. However, I feel that Keita will step up to the plate, maybe not take the most leadership style role, but he will definitely come out with something to prove today. And then we've got Mane, Jota and Firmino, which, I mean, there's not much to say about that. Mane is simply the best player, or definitely one of the best players in the world. And Jota, to come into Liverpool, I think in 11 games, he's managed to score 7 goals. And you got to realise, Liverpool recently won the Champions League with the current champions of the Premier League. Like, to walk into a team like that, and not only to just break into their first 11, but to go and score 7 goals in 11 games, like, it's not easy work. And Jota has literally just gone and done that. And now he's filling the boots for Salah today. Like, usually, think about it. Last season, if Salah was out, everyone would be like, oh, sugar, like, what are we going to do? But this season, all right, cool, Salah's out. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm still worried. He was my captain in my fantasy league, but I don't want to replace him. But look, he just, cool, all right, Salah's out. We'll stick Jota in there because he has the ability to fill that role. Like, he's genuinely like a white Sadio Mane. Like, he's absolutely great. And there's been rumours about Firmino and Jota, like, competing for that number 9 role, and Firmino has been off the mark recently. And I said this in my last video, that Firmino needs to pull his socks up. And with Salah out, like, I genuinely thought before Salah got COVID and everything, I thought this week we're going to have Mane on the left, Salah on the right, and Jota playing in the middle, and Firmino just sitting on the bench, not sulking, but realising that he needs to pull his socks up if he wants to carry on playing in his first 11. But with Salah out, I feel like Firmino has been given another chance to prove himself. He's had a 2-week break from Premier League football. And if he doesn't come back today and really prove himself, then questions have to be asked. And it's hard, really hard to say this about a player that I love so much. And Firmino, like, he's got an amazing character. He's got an amazing positivity about him. I remember when you had people like Mane going through rough patches here and there, even though it's very rare for Mane, but you had Firmino backing him all the way. With Keita coming into the squad, you seemed like you had Firmino just pushing him and just giving a lot of positivity to the team. But to see Firmino in a position where he's not being positive, he's not coming out on the pitch with the confidence, with the courage that used to come out before, it's difficult to see. But now that we've had the 2-week international break, Mohamed Salah's out, we don't have a choice. We have to play Firmino. And he has to show us that it's not a, oh, great, we have to play Firmino sort of situation, but rather it's cool, don't worry, Firmino's there. He's going to do his job, going to help Jota and Mane get them goals. And hopefully, I would love to see Firmino on the score sheet as well today. And now to Leicester's 11 today, we've got Ward in goal, which is going to be really interesting because he's making his Premier League debut today. And let me tell you one thing, and I think Adrian will vouch for this one, that the Premier League it's a tough league to play in, especially in goal. You got to be physical, especially in the box when we're whipping in crosses into that box, and you've got people with the hunger, like Mane does, like Jota does, to get those goals. So Ward's going to have to be really physical if he wants to compete and just stop Liverpool from scoring today, which I personally don't think they will be able to keep a clean sheet. Then they've got Justin, Evans, Morgan and Fuchs at the back. Ndidi, who is back for today's game. I don't think he's played many games this season. You've got Tielemans. Then I feel Maddison that we need to watch out for. You've got Barnes, Pryor and Vardy at the front. And James Vardy is going to be an absolute pain in the butt for us. Like it always is. We've got a weakened defence. We've got, I mean, let's be honest, we've got Milner playing at the back. Or we most likely will have Milner playing at the back, who's just slow. I mean, at his age, if he can keep up with Vardy, then hats off to him, but I don't think he can. You've got Matip, who's 50-50. Like, he can't keep up with Vardy's pace either. Then you've got Phillips, who's, he definitely ain't keeping up, but he's all right. Like, he's not bad. And then you've got Robertson as well. And I think Vardy is really, really going to give them a run for their money today. And I think Leicester are going to do very similar to what Spurs did to Man City, which is sit back, attack, sit back, attack. It just means that, all right, we're going to have a lot of possession today. We're going to be moving that ball around, and I really hope this is why I'm quite glad that Shaqiri is playing, because he's picked out some super through balls, and him and Jota seem to have a little bit of an understanding together. And if Keita goes back to that Keita that used to play at Leipzig, or that Keita that we've seen when he's on the top of his game, then his passing is going to be very crucial to us breaking down Leicester today. And Leicester are that team that can counter-attack. They've got Vardy playing at the front against our back four, who, like I've said before, are going to struggle to keep up with him. And if they're able to sit back and soak in our high pressure and come out with those counter-attacks, we're really going to struggle today. But if Keitas is able to break down their attacks before they become a threat, if you've got Shaqiri, who I don't see as the most defensive midfielder, but if he can take that role of trying to break down their attacks or adding that pressure on and converting chances, then Leicester are going to really struggle against us. And I think a lot of the game is going to be decided in the first 10 to 15 minutes. Either Leicester are going to soak our attack and then come with a counter-attack and make us just keep running back, and we can't afford to make mistakes. And if they keep doing that to us in the first 15 minutes, it's going to set the standard for the game. However, if we keep that pressure on, don't let them break. Every time they try to move out, if we're able to intercept those passes, if we're able to keep Vardy marked, if we can't give him any space, if our attacks, if we convert chances, if we make chances in that first 15 minutes, I feel like it's going to decide most of the game. So my prediction for today's game is, I haven't thought this one through yet, but we're going to go for a 4-2 to Liverpool. And that, my friends, is an outrageous scoreline. But 4-2 to Liverpool with Keitas, Jota and Mane. Keitas, Jota and Mane on the team, on the score sheet. I think Mane or Jota, one of them will get 2 goals. And for Leicester's 2 goals, I think Vardy and Tielemans. Those are my guesses. If that happens, boy. But I mean, I really do hope we manage to keep a clean sheet against Leicester today, because if we can make them struggle now, I feel like we'll break their confidence down a little bit more. Right now is a big decider moment for Leicester, whether they are still part of that title contending race or if they're going to drop back a little bit. And right now, coming into Christmas, it's they got to, I mean, if they start dropping off points now, they're going to do exactly what they did last season, which is just drop off and not be part of that title race anymore. But if they win today, then it's not going to be fun for us. Or even if they manage to hold us to a draw, because sitting behind Leicester and sitting behind Spurs and Chelsea, it just feels strange. Like, Chelsea had such a poor season last season, and Spurs they're a big team, but they're not title winning team, so we just need to get in front of them. But anyways, what do you guys think the score is going to be today, and who do you think is going to be on our score sheet? I would love to hear from you guys, so make sure you guys like, subscribe and drop a comment down below. With that said, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.